Thank you, gentlemen. I'll now take the roll. Hanover.
Here.
King William.
Here.
New Kent.
Here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we make Aaron Goldmanson the parliamentarian for this meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, I'm going to read you something. Robert's Rules of Order states that, quote, if a parliamentarian is needed by an organization, the president should be free to appoint one in whom he has confidence. That is Section 47 on page 465. Roberts gives me, as the presiding officer, the discretion to choose the parliamentarian of my choice. And tonight, I choose Mr. Adams, who is an attorney at law. So let's proceed. The chair would like to make a couple of comments before we go into old business or new business. There have been multiple accounts regarding the approval of the call in our January meeting. Scott Wyatt did not participate in that January meeting where the call was approved. Mr. Wyatt sent an uninstructed proxy, of which we have a copy, to that meeting. I might note that no one has ever appealed that vote. I want to explain why I have repeatedly ruled motions to cancel the convention as invalid. Robert's Rules, Article 6, Section 36, clearly states that a previous motion, in this case the adoption of the call on January 19th, after something has been done as a result of that vote, that the Assembly cannot undo. Here's what could not be undone. We could not undo the official call for the convention being published and posted. We could not undo having filed the appropriate paperwork with the Department of Elections, a Form Elect 516 filed on February 11th, which clearly stated we were having a convention and that it would be held in Hanover on May 4th. We could not undo having all three units, New Kent on March 14th, Hanover and King William on 21st March, approve their official calls. We could not undo having two candidates, Delegate Peace and Supervisor Wyatt, both properly filed to be candidates at the convention. And they met the deadline of April 2nd. We could not undo all three units having elected delegates and alternates to the convention at their respective mass meetings. New Kent on April 9th, Hanover on April 11th, and King William on April 18th. Without a doubt, we could not undo having those delegates and alternates certified to the Legislative District Committee on April 26th, as all three delegations were. No appeal was ever filed on any of these six actions, as I just stated. Once those delegate certifications were completed on April 26th, the delegates, not the LDC, were the convention. The very idea that anybody would attempt to cancel a convention after the calls have been issued, after the candidates have filed, after the mass meetings have been held, after the delegates have been elected, and after the delegations have been certified is abhorrent, not just to Robert's Rules, but to the party plan. There is no provision in the party plan to cancel a convention, and you certainly cannot cancel a convention 3 days before it's scheduled to be held. If that were permitted, our party plan and all party-run nominations methods would be worthless. When an illegal, invalid, or improper motion is repeatedly made, as the motion to cancel the convention and hold a different nomination process was, that constitute what Robert's Rules of Order calls dilatory behavior. Under those circumstances, I had no choice but to adjourn the meeting. Throughout the process, I have been focused on seeing it to completion. On Saturday it was. The convention was held consistent with the official call issued by the committee and the Hanover, King William, and New Kent counties committees. The convention was a success. Those of you who were there know how well the convention was run. The volunteers did an outstanding job, and I'm grateful to all of them. Hanover Public Schools and the Hanover Sheriff Office did everything possible to ensure the success of the convention, and I am very grateful to them. The convention was evidence that those who have been trying to derail this process have not been acting in good faith. The sole goal has been to start the entire process over because they did not like who filed to participate as delegates. Scott Wyatt's our nominee.
Mr. Chair, I have to say that I appreciate your rambling here, and I disagree with you completely. What we did was in order, and we've done what we've done, and we're going to continue with it. And subsequently, I have to move to suspend the rules.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, point of order.
Mark, let's respect the chair and ask for permission to speak, please, or we'll get out of hand again. Go ahead, Mark.
Mr. Chairman, point of order. I know this good gentleman, John Hubbard. Many of his neighbors are here. He's been very helpful throughout this process. And I know that he is the chair of the King William unit. I am the chair of the New Kent unit. Representative Hanover is not chair of the Hanover unit. In fact, it's been reported in the paper, it's been said now. I know he's a lobbyist. I know he's a vowed peace supporter, but I don't even know if he's a member of the Hanover unit or any GOP unit. So my question, the point of order is he eligible to vote and participate as a representative?
Okay, point of order has been made. I have a letter from the Hanover County Unit Secretary regarding this point, and I'll read the letter. Dear Mr. Chairman Miller, please be advised that Michael P. Reynolds is not a member of the Hanover County Republican Committee. Mr. Reynolds was elected as a member of the committee under the provisions of the official call for mass, was not elected as a member of the committee under the, lost my place, was not elected as a member of the committee under the provisions of the official call for a mass meeting of the Hanover County Committee of the Republican Party of Virginia scheduled for March 6, 2018. Mr. Reynolds has not been elected to membership of the Hanover County Republican Committee at any subsequent regular meeting of the committee. Respectfully yours, Steve Tetruitt, Corresponding Secretary, Hanover County Republican Committee. Now that said, the party plan is not definitive on this point. It's a bit vague, so there's some doubt about it. So the chair tonight will recognize Mr. Reynolds, and Mr. Reynolds will be allowed to cast his vote even though he's not the rep from there. So,
Mr. Chairman, I reserve the right to appeal that.
I'd like to call the question.
We had a question to suspend the rules.
Yeah, let's,
Is what we were discussing.
they have a question to
Before we
suspend the
went off on
rules.
this tangent.
In what regard are you moving to suspend the rules?
I have a chairman that's hostile to what we're trying to do, and we've got business that we need to take care of, and I appreciate his. I've never heard a chair pontificate so much in a meeting, and I don't know that I've made a motion. It's been seconded, and I'm calling the question.
To suspend the rules, I'm not sure what that.
Well, it's to suspend the rules, but the problem for an organization such as this is there are different types of rules. For example, this organization exists under the authority of the party plan, and this organization does not have any power to dispense, for example, with any provisions of the party plan. That is something that's reserved to the party itself. I think it would probably be more productive to proceed with the business, and if there is obstruction, we can address questions as they arise.
I appreciate your opinion. I would like to move to vacate the chair.
Second.
Again, I would say that the party plan is a governing document which this body has no power to vary from. And again, the party plan has specific provisions for vacating or removing a chairman. It's my understanding that 2 members of the committee have invoked those provisions, and that is certainly their right, but it would in effect render the party provision a nullity if any committee could, on a majority vote, vacate a chair at any point in the meeting. At that point, the chair would have virtually no power and would not have the tenure and protection in office that is provided under the party plan.
So
I'm calling the question. I'm calling the question.
You want to ask the chair for permission to speak? You don't just call out, calling for the question. Okay, the chair moves the motion out of order.
Move to overrule the chair.
Second.
Again, normally such a motion is in order on a matter of parliamentary procedure, but this is a matter of
This
the
is in
authority of
order.
the party plan.
This is in order, sir.
Give you a chance to speak, gentlemen. Hold on.
I rule it out of order. let's proceed to the old business and the new business, get on with the meeting.
I move to overrule the chair.
And I second again.
ruled.
Gonna rule one more time, that's out of order. We tried this last time, we went down the same road, and it didn't work, so we're gonna move on to old business. Being there no old business, let's move to new business. First item under new business is adopt an official call for a party canvass on June 1st, 2019.
Send him his message, you ever send him, you got to get along now.
I'm still going back to where I was. I'm being overruled here, and these motions are not overrulable. To question the chair's decision, to overrule the chair, it cannot be ignored in this way. And this is going to make this meeting a farce, and I really don't want that to happen. We have business to get on with. And I know you think your business is done, but we've got a supermajority of votes here that want something done. And I disagree with your parliamentarian. We have two other parliamentarians here that we can talk to.
Let's move on to the agenda and deal with it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mike?
this is now the fourth meeting held in a public library with 4 people up on the dais, and we can't even run a meeting here. We can't even adjourn properly. We can't even conduct ordinary business. And it's really a shame. And I would like to respond to the point earlier about my membership in the Hanover Republican Committee.
Yeah.
Mark. Go ahead, Mike.
That's the sort of behavior that I'm talking about in terms of, if we're going to be polite and respectful and have disagreements and just...
Forgive me, Mr. Earl, please continue. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Go ahead.
So like the overwhelming number of Republicans living in Hanover and the overwhelming number of delegates in supporting both candidates, I'm not currently a member of the local Republican committee. So over the last 13 and a half years that I've lived in Hanover, sometimes I've been a member of the committee and sometimes I've not. But to be clear, there's no requirement specified in the party plan to be a member of the committee to serve on the LDC. And any other messages to the contrary are trying to confuse the issue. I vote, and I'm a loyal Republican. Now, since we want to go in and look at my credentials, I was the deputy campaign manager and the political director for Bob McDonald's gubernatorial campaign. I'd like to remind you that it was the last time we won a statewide race, now 10 years ago. And we won with the largest margin of victory in the modern two-party era. We executed a convention with more than 10,000 delegates at the Richmond Convention Center. Just check out the Washington Post reports. So before that, I was the state director for the presidential campaign of McCain-Palin in 2008. I've worked for and volunteered for Eric Cantor, Dave Bratt, Rob Whitman, Bill Bowling, Ben Klein, Jerry Kilgore, Ed Gillespie, Tom Garrett, and others. I volunteered for Chris Peace on his first campaign back in 2005, and I've been in private practice since 2011. So I don't think clouding the issue with these efforts to attack me personally, I don't think they're helpful to the overall process. And again, I see that this is now the 4th meeting that we are unable to conduct in a library with 4 people up here. It just speaks to the dysfunction of the unit, and I think we have to lay that at the foot of the chairman.
Like, it's okay. The chairman said you could vote.
You don't have permission to speak. Hold on. Look, if you want to speak, please respect the chair and ask to speak. If you're called on. You done, Mike?
Yes, sir.
I would just make a comment before you that what Mike has said is very commendable. Okay, and I think it's an excellent rundown of what he's done. I have no problem with that at all. I don't think any of us do. We certainly thank you for all your past leadership of those activities. Chair recognizes Mr. Dana.
That's good. I'm fine. Just asking, and I reserve the right to appeal.
Okay. Okay, I'd like to move on to new business.
Before we move on, there has been a motion made, it has been seconded, and I understand what your parliamentarian is saying, but I disagree, and I'm calling the question.
The motion was ruled out of order.
Suspend the rules.
What more do you need to know?
It is not out of order.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as I understand the party plan, he has the right to appeal it. He doesn't have the right to stop the meeting, so he can appeal it.
Call the question. I call the question.
I vote aye.
Aye.
Wait a minute. Now, this is what gets us in a lot of trouble. Either we have a chair or don't have a chair, and I understand your feelings towards the chair. But we don't just call out and vote and call for the question, okay? So let me check with Parker. Okay, do we?
Well, again, I'm curious, in what regard are you looking to suspend the rules?
Well, he's looking to vacate the chair now.
Well, again, if it's a motion to vacate the chair, I think that's precluded by the party plan.
No, it's not.
How?
It's a specific motion in the,
To be
One more
clear,
time, I'll be happy to call on people, but let's not just shout out.
to be clear,
No.
the
Let's let
party
him speak
plan
and then-
has a specific provision on the removal of chairs. The Robert's Rules of Order has a broader provision that allows under a broader set of circumstances and at a lower voting threshold, the removal of a chair. The party plan has a different provision, and those provisions are inherently in conflict because to allow the lower burden to be sufficient to remove the chair would effectively write the rule out of the party plan. The committees in the Republican Party are not mere creatures of Robert's Rules of Order. They're creatures of the plan, and ultimately the plan is their highest law. And in this case, there is a divergence between what the plan provides and what Roberts provides.
Mr. Boyd?
Mr. Chair.
Mark.
Mr.
Wait,
Chairman,
Mark.
the specific issue here is a move to vacate the chair applies only to this meeting, not to a removal from the office. That is a specific motion that can be made under Robert's rules. It does not conflict with the party plan because it does not remove the chairman from his other functions. It removes him only from chairing this meeting today. He would then be perfectly able to go call another meeting at his desire in time and place. It is not in direct conflict in any way with the state party plan. The state party plan speaks to a removal from the chair from his current office and removal of all duties and replacement. This does not do that. This motion is to vacate the chair for the purposes of this meeting, and Robert's Rules specifies that where the chairman refuses repeatedly to take points of order, to take the motions to overturn the chair, that this is in order.
I would respond in two ways to that. First of all, there have been, other than this motion itself, there have been no motions where the chair has ruled matters out of order and refused to hear appeals. And so, even by your own standard, it's premature.
Parliamentarian.
But I would also, the position would be that, and here's a question to you, does this mean under any circumstance and without any showing, a majority of a committee could vacate a chair at every meeting in which it sat?
It could do it if the circumstances were such that the chair was refusing repeatedly, as he has in the past 2 meetings, to take motions from the majority.
Again, that would be tantamount to a removal. And because
It
of
would
that,
not remove him from his other functions that are specified in the party plan. The chairman fulfilled one of those functions when he filed what he said was a certification of candidates.
the party plan's clear. If you're going to strip a chair of his functions, as you say, there is a procedure for doing it.
Absolutely.
2 members of the committee have invoked that procedure, and that is the proper and the sole procedure under the party plan.
And that is for the permanent removal of the chair. It is not for, and would not, and those procedures do not affect the this actual meeting and what is being decided and said in this actual meeting.
You would allow Roberts to swallow the party plan in that case?
No, I do not at all. I think that if the chair was taking the motions, putting them to a vote, then there would be no grounds for him to be vacated.
Well, again, in this case, the chair is trying to move to new business, so why don't we see if that motion is put to a vote, and then you can decide whether this is warranted, even on your own standard, which, again, I reiterate, is at odds with the party plan.
Mr. Chair, I vote to appoint a new parliamentarian.
The chair has the prerogative of appointing the parliamentarian. I think that's pretty clear. And so that motion is out of order.
I would second the motion.
Gentlemen, I would really prefer to get to the items of new business here and have a discussion. That's what people came here to hear. And
Mr. Chair, if I may, I'd like to move for recess.
Move on, Mr. Chairman.
You can grant recess. It might be worth the conversation.
okay, 10 minutes. And so 52, 2 minutes after 7. Recess. I would like to move forward with new business. First item is to adopt an official call for party canvass on June 1st, 2019.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that the call as presented be passed and published for 97th Legislative District Party Canvass on June 1st, 2019.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
I second.
Mr. Chairman?
Wait a minute. I didn't give you the floor. That motion is out of order. I'm going to tell you why. First, the party plan does not give this committee the power to interfere in changing the nomination process once it's underway or otherwise disenfranchise Republicans who participate in the process. Second, Robert's Rules provides that a motion cannot be rescinded to the extent that things have been done that cannot be undone. In this case, the mass meetings have been done, have been held, and the participants have chosen their delegates. The mass meetings are things done that this committee has no power to undo.
I move to overrule the chair.
I second.
And a motion to overrule the chair and a second. Is there discussion? Let's do a roll call vote. All those in favor of the motion. Hanover?
Aye.
King William?
Aye.
New Kent?
No.
Okay, the chair's been overruled.
So we now have to vote.
The motion carries.
Do we have to vote on the motion?
Yeah, call the question.
I did a roll call vote. Was there another? I didn't-
That was to overrule the
chair.
chair. We still need to vote on.
Oh, okay, now we're gonna, okay.
Do an overall vote on the canvas.
Okay, so now we're gonna vote on the motion to do the canvass, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Roll call, in favor of adopting an official call for a party canvass on June 1st, 2019. And assume we have the call, John? It's in the
Copy, and
package?
I included a
Okay, thank you, sir.
package for both the gentlemen, all three of the
Okay.
gentlemen.
Do a roll call. Hanover?
Aye.
King William?
Aye.
New Kent?
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir?
I move that we, and make a motion that we reconsider that motion.
Motion has been made to reconsider. In the case, the chair's going to make a comment here after that motion. In the case of small committees, such as this one, a second is not required per Robert's Rules of Order, page 35. So all those in favor of the motion to reconsider, say, well, let's do back to roll call. All those in favor of motion to reconsider? One more time, Miller. Hanover, are you in favor of the motion to reconsider?
No.
King William?
No.
Nuket?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. The
Declare the results. Declare the results.
results are that
The motion to reconsider failed.
the motion to reconsider has failed. So then we'll move on to the next item of new business. Consider report from committee on arrangements, locations, and draft rules.
Mr. Breeden has prepared something.
Good evening, gentlemen. As directed by the 97th Legislative District Committee at the May 1st, 2019 meeting, Gary Green, Wayne Hayden, and I are pleased to make the report that you should have in front of you that for the Arrangements Committee for the 97th Legislative District Party Canvass. The rules, again, you all have in front of you, I believe. The committee, as you can see from the rules, have selected 3 prime locations for our polling places. These locations are contained within the set of rules of the party's canvass. These rules also provide for the order of candidate names and ballots are drawn by lot size. I recall, if I'm misstating that, please let me know. I ask that you do this at your next meeting after the closing of the candidate filing deadline, so we can have them printed and has to be available for the party canvass. Also, as per the rules of the party canvass, a credentials committee needs to be appointed. We ask the 97th Legislative District Committee consider the following for the credentials committee: Wayne Hayden, Jim Jenkins, Anne Marie Burks, myself, John Breeden, and Ed Moran. We are very pleased there have been an outpouring of folks volunteering to help with the canvass. I already had close to full slate. Actually, I had more than full slate already. I've had additional volunteers tonight, so we've got plenty of folks. We're confident the party canvass can be run efficiently with the full support of the Republican Party of Virginia. We thank you for the opportunity to serve the 97th District and be the voice of the people of the 97th House District. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, John. Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I move
Yes, John.
to adopt the proposed rules and to appoint a credential committee as introduced by John Breeden for Gary Green and Wayne Hayden from the Arrangements Committee report.
Second.
there's been a motion made to approve what John Breeden just, it's duly seconded to approve what John Breeden just went through in the way of rules and a credentials committee. Do a roll call vote. All those in favor, Hanover,
Aye.
King William,
Aye.
New Kent,
No.
the ayes have it. So the rules are approved and the committee is approved. Next item on the agenda under new business, adopt. We did the rules and basically we did the rules, right?
Right.
Okay.
So,
Okay, next item on the agenda, draw lots, a set order of candidates on the ballot for the June 1st party canvass.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I move that we draw lots for ballot placement at the next meeting after the candidate filing deadline closes.
Okay, so there's a motion to
I'll
do
second
that at the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Okay, duly seconded. The next, do we have a date in the next meeting?
We want to call it for May the 17th. And since it was going to be for that very purpose, we were just going to do it in the conference room at Three Rivers Services LLC, which is about 3 miles up the road. That's my business. It's just a place to do it, to poke the lots.
Oh, we will we not have to convene the committee to do that?
Yes, I was going to move that we adjourn until that specific date, just a time-specific adjournment.
When is the filing?
prefer not to.
Proposals.
Prefer not to do that. Is there a reason why we can't do it tonight?
Yeah, we have to open, the rules provide that you just adopted, provide that that it is open for other candidates to file. Although the current two have been grandfathered in, it is open for other candidates to file during this time period. Now, if everybody, I do think everybody's got a copy. Does everybody have a copy of those? I think they were all
We
in the package.
I did. hand
The
that.
filing date for the candidates is long past due. It's the 2nd of April, I believe, yes.
This is a new process that has a new filing date.
So you're saying because we've adopted a new call,
It
what is the
requires,
filing date of the new call?
it requires the same 7 days notice, and that would be,
Well, let's look at the call, see what the filing
Yeah.
date is.
yes, it's in the call right there that's in front of you. Candidate filing requirements. There.
Friday, 17 May.
Yeah, May 17th.
So let me clarify this, Boyd.
Mhm.
This means that we can have more than 2 candidates at this, if I'm reading this right.
Yes,
So you want to wait till,
you have to wait until when the
So
process
so when
changes.
Tom Miller applies for the 97th House of Delegate thing, then he'd have to flip a coin or pull lots or something. He had 3 candidates, I assume the other 2 would too.
Yes, yeah, there would be, and I believe that the rules say something about the choosing of lots. I don't know what it says, but I saw something in here a little while ago.
It is done by choosing of lots,
Okay.
so that if we do have more than 2 candidates, that's a reasonable.
I think I'm gonna follow that. I'm gonna follow.
Okay, additional discussion on this to move it, what was the date that you moved it to, Mike? You said the next meeting?
17th.
It has to be up to the 14th. So. John, you want to do a continuation of this meeting?
Yes, and not right at this moment. We've got a little bit more to do, but yes.
Well, we can't put something off to the 17th if there's no meeting on the 17th.
I think the chair is asking, do you want to adjourn this meeting to the 17th?
In a moment, yes. Not
He
right
hasn't,
at this
he
moment.
hasn't made that motion
Yes.
yet. Okay.
But I do plan to make the
Okay,
motion.
well, so we'll suspend discussion on the ballot, on the order on the ballots until such time as you do what you're going to do here, and then we'll go back to that.
Okay.
So gentlemen, what's your,
So,
at this point, we've exhausted the,
Will we do
Mr. Chairman?
discussion before we vote? Do we
yeah,
allow
well, we
discussion?
haven't, there's no motion on the floor at this point, is there, Mike?
Yes, then I move to waive the publication of the 97th House District Party Canvass Call on June 1st, 2019 in the newspaper, and its publication to be made on the RPB website, the 1st District website, and the Unit Committee websites.
And I'll second that.
Mr. Chairman, any discussion like we
Discussion
recognize?
on the motion, would you repeat that one more time, you want to be
Sure.
quick?
I move that we waive the publication of the 97th House District Party Canvass Call on June 1st, 2019 in the newspaper, and that its publication to be made on the RPB website, the 1st District website, and the various Unit Committee websites.
Our parliamentarian has a point.
Under the party plan, that requires a 2/3 majority. I do not know the relative weighted votes of the units, but that motion would have to carry by a 2/3
He's got
majority.
62 and John's got 12. In my book, that's more than 66 and a third, so.
Very good.
Is that right, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Dana?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to once again reiterate and make a point of order. This is an illegal action. We have already had a process. We've had 3 mass meetings. You can look right here, go to chrispeace.com, sign up, New Kent, Hanover, King William. We had 1,700 people participate in the process. We were all there. It was all going so wonderful. We certified those votes. Then we had a procedure. Then we had a convention. And then we have a nominee. This action that we're doing is illegal. I will protest it, and a point of order would be that we're going to do something that we don't have the authority and the power to do.
The chair ruled, hang on, the chair has the floor, John.
Okay, sorry. Go right ahead,
The
Tom.
chair ruled that the motion was out of order. The chair was overruled, okay? There's an appeal process for that too. So I certainly understand what you just stated, but the chair was overruled on calling the original motion out of order. So let's go back to what, can I, Mike, ask you to read that one more time?
Sure.
So we can vote on.
I move to waive the publication of the 97th House District Party Canvass Call on June 1st, 2019 in the newspaper, and that its publication will be made on the RPB website, the 1st District website, and the various Unit Committee websites.
And that was duly seconded by John.
Correct.
Further discussion? Do a roll call vote. All in favor of Mike's motion? Hanover?
Aye.
King William? New Kent?
No.
The
Mr.
ayes
Chairman,
have it. Motion is carried.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we reconsider.
Motion has been made to reconsider.
That motion is out of order. You voted against the primary motion.
Okay. Your reconsider motion is out of order, Mr. Dean.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, that's the last item on the agenda. Is there any other new business?
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn to May 17th at 6:30 p.m. at Three River Services LLC at 115 Commerce Park Drive, Suite E in Manquin, Virginia, 23106 for the purpose of drawing lots for the ballot.
I second that.
There's been a motion made, duly seconded. John, would you provide that to the committee members and
Absolutely.
and to the units, to the unit chairs? just so they have that information.
Absolutely.
Okay, all in favor of that motion, Hanover,
Aye.
King William,
Aye.
New Kent?
Aye. Mr. Chairman, I move that we reconsider that motion.
Bennett?
I think that still is right.
I think it is too, but. All right, we're gonna move on. We're not considering your comment on out of order on that reconsideration.
Note my appeal.
Okay. Okay, so we do not have to adjourn if they move to continue the meeting, correct?
Well, we are adjourned until the meeting is reconvened at the later date.
Okay. I want to thank all of you for coming.